Now, take a glass of water, put it in the freezer, it will become ice. And another glass, you take water, boil it, it becomes water vapor. So the state of water is changed from liquid to solid, solid to vapor. So here this is only a physical change, it is not a chemical change. But if you undergo electrolysis of water, it will convert into hydrogen and oxygen. That will be a chemical change. You see many physical changes, physical and chemical changes happening around you. Now, souring of the milk, then that is chemical change because it changes its property completely. So let us see what happens in physical and chemical change. It's temporary, physical change is temporary, whereas chemical change is permanent. If it has happened, it has happened. Now in physical change, no new substances form. Here, new substances form. Like water changes into solid, liquid, gas. It becomes ice, it becomes liquid water at room temperature, and while boiling, when you boil it, becomes vapor. So no new substances form, but a new substances form in chemical change. Like souring of the milk changes completely. You cannot change into normal milk again. So here in physical change, the change can be reversed, but in chemical change, the change cannot be reversed. Now most of the time, heat or light is not required for the physical change. But while boiling, you might require heat. But that is still a physical change. But in chemical change, either you give heat and light, or heat and light is produced after the chemical changes. Now you can regain your substance very easily. Here you cannot regain easily. It will require a lot of process to regain. Right now you remember it cannot be regained in chemical changes, but in physical changes it can be regained. Now you'll understand better with some examples. Like melting of the ice cube is physical change. You can make it water, you can make water vapor, you can make ice cubes, whatever. Boiling of water also is physical change. You cutting of the paper, cutting of the wood, all these are physical changes. Dissolving sugar and water. Now, when you dissolve sugar or salt in water, no chemical reaction is taking place. Now, how do you recover this sugar? You heat this water, sugar water, and collect the vapor. Vapor will become water and sugar will be there at the base when all the water is evaporated. Same way for salt. Take salt water, heat it, water you collect, and salt will be there at the base of the vessel. So you can regain the substance in the physical chain very easily. Chopping of the wood, or cutting anything, chopping, cutting, all are physical changes. Even the crushing of the paper or crushing of the bottles, plastic bottles, those are all physical changes. Crushing a can is also a physical change. Breaking of glass is also physical change. You might ask how it is physical. You collect the pieces, heat it, it will melt, you put in mold, you can get the glass again. So it's physical change. You can regain the substance very easily. So this is what happens. These are all physical changes. Now let's see chemical changes. It's permanent. A new substance is formed. Rusting of the iron oxide gets oxidized. So new substance is formed. You cannot regain the iron from that. So the change is permanent in chemical change. No new in physical, it is no new substances form. Here new substances form in the chemical change. Physical change can be reversed. It chemical changes cannot be reversed. Once it happen, it is happened forever. Your heat or light is not required. Your heat or light is required. You might ask, how can you get water vapor by heating? Even though even though you don't heat it, you put the water, it will evaporate by itself. But heating here you do to see the quick reaction. Otherwise, the evaporation can take place without heating also. Now, but in chemical change, you have to heat or you have to give light to the reaction to take place. Now, sometimes you don't give heat and light, but whenever the chemical reaction takes place, it gives heat and light. There are various reactions which gives heat and light. So, in chemical, either given or taken, something will happen. Here you cannot regain the substance in the chemical change. Very difficult. So let us see some example. Rusting of iron. Rusted iron oxide is formed. It is gone oxidized. Burning of wood. If you just chop the wood, then it's physical change. But if you burn the wood, then chemical changes have taken place. Carbon will be left and carbon dioxide will be given out. Carbon monoxide will be given out. All the chemical changes will take place when you burn the wood. Mixing of acid and base. Acid and base, when you mix, you get salt and water. So new substances form. Acid and base, they have changed completely. So regaining that acid back and base back is not possible. Digesting sugar with amylase, when you take a piece of chapati that you start eating slowly, you will see the chemical reaction is taking place and that starch which is there in the chapati is getting converted into sugar. So that is with the help of enzyme. Enzyme changes chemically. So here digesting sugar with amylase, that's an enzyme. And in our body, chemical changes, we are not providing heat for the chemical change to take place, but still chemical changes are taking place with the help of enzymes. Mixing of baking soda and vinegar. Now soda is a powder you use for baking cake and all. If you put vinegar on it, carbon dioxide will be produced. So that's a chemical change. You cannot regain back the substances. Now electroplating a metal. So many times you see there are metals which are coated with another metal. So that's electroplating. The atoms they get one by one, they come and accumulate there. So that's a chemical change, and that's a chemical change. That's not a physical change. So these are some of the examples of physical and chemical change. But if you see around, you see in us, there are various changes which are taking place. In our body, both physical and chemical changes are taking place. There's water retention in your body. That is physical change. But new substances continuously forming. You're growing. New cells are forming. Those are chemical changes.